Sometimes I feel like we have that ghost moon of God's light within us. Sometimes it feels incredibly tenuous. Sometimes it feels like it is slipping from your grasp and you cannot see it. Well, that's not true. Whether we see it, whether we feel it, it's desirable, but it doesn't matter. It is there. As long as you are as true to yourself as you can be, that is as good as it can be. As long as you strive to live in truthfulness, and you strive towards self-knowledge, and you challenge yourself when you shy away from other people, and what other people are and what other people believe, then we shine. Because it's the process which is edifying and glorious as much as the destination. We worry too much, I think, in our Christian lives about destinations. We compare ourselves with finished articles all over the place, whether they be heavenly or whether they be examples of saints. When, of course, we have no real idea what they were like. They were a process. They were a process. And you know they were perfect at each stage of that process. You do not have to reach maturity in order to be perfect as you proceed. As I think I've preached before, a tomato plant is still a tomato plant, whether it be a seedling, whether it be a young plant, whether it be mature and bearing fruits, or whether it be old and withered. It is, in each of those stages, in perfection, because it is moving to where it needs to be. And each of us must not merely compare ourselves with the ideal of where we must be, but accept that we are in the process we must be in, and we must live truthfully in that process. And as we shine, so the light falls upon us. And as we bless, so those blessings fall upon us. And as we are generous, our generosity enlightens and ornaments us. And so we do all of these things. They come back to us, not by some ghastly hodgepodge of prosperity ministry, but merely because that is what happens. That's the way it is. You love, and you feel love. If you do not love, it is almost impossible to feel love. Finally, there is a Shakespeare quote I would really have liked to have brought with me, and I left it at home. But the gist of it is that there is a tide in the affairs of men which moves to full swell, and unless we are upon that tide to be borne away across the salty main to our destinations, we will spend all our lives, embedded in the puddles and the swamps on the shoreline, in bitterness and barren regret. All this talk about outshining has a practical side to it. That practical side to it is that each and every one of you has some sort of token of that light. And that might be a dream, it might be a vocation. It's something that you want to do, something you feel you must do. Something which you are maybe ashamed of because you think that it is unrealistic. It's something that people are going to mock you about. Well, that is part of your light. And there is some aspect of that dream, no matter how ridiculous, that you can fulfill and you must fulfill. But you must start to realize that your beliefs are not a chain. Your parents' beliefs are not a chain. Your pastor's beliefs are not a chain to bind you. This country is not a chain to bind you. It is up to you if you want to do something extraordinary. You have that capacity, which brings me back to my sister again, God love her. She said, oh, it's all right for you, it's miserable weather here, and it's horrible, and you're in New Orleans. And I said, so, well, do you want to go to New Orleans? Oh, well, no. So, well, where do you want to go? Oh, I'd like to go somewhere hot. I said, well, for goodness sake, say you wanted to go to America. Find out what jobs are required. Find out what people want. Go and train yourself. 3 years, 4 years at most. Your life's changed. She, oh, well, I couldn't do that. Why not? Oh, well, I just couldn't. As soon as we start compassing ourselves around with, oh, I just couldn't, you know that we're just not going to. Under no circumstances is any chink of light going to get through that wall of darkness that we've surrounded ourselves with. That wall of impossibility that says that what I am now is all I can ever be because I just can't.
That's a lie.
I cannot fulfill my dreams because, well, I just can't. Because this says no, that says no. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. all down to decisions. It's all down to choices, and it's all down to decisions. It really is. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, I was half tempted to get you all to write down some dream or aspiration of yourself and give it to me, and I would come and tell you in a few moments, oh, well, you can do this, and that. Well, that's arrogance. But the fact is, you can do it, it just may involve decisions that you don't want to make. You can do it, but people around you might not like it. You can do anything you damn well want in that respect, but you've also got to accept that you are the one that is going to have to live with the consequences for the rest of your life. They're not. Yeah. If you are determined to do something and achieve something, if you have a dream that you want to aspire to, you are ultimately the one who's going to be living with that dream or not doing the dream and living with a bitterness in the shallows upon the seashore. Amen. The amount of people who, I know someone, I know a guy, and I'm not going to out him. He's not here today. But he talks about hoodwinking people for money. He talks about getting together huge revivals so that he can fleece people of their money. And if you were just to listen to him, you'd say, oh, how terrible. Do you know the truth of the matter? He is ashamed that he has a vocation. He cannot believe that a man like him could ever have a vocation to preach. Therefore, he dresses it in the only language he understands, the only language he believes that people will not mock him for. He does not want to expose that most tender part of his life to the world, because our dreams are the rawest, most tender parts of ourselves. And once you mock somebody's dreams, you have done the cruelest thing you can do to that person. To tell somebody that they're just ridiculous believing they can do something like that. It's happened to me. People have said that to me. People have obviously said that to that guy so many times that he believed that the only way that he could explain this to other people was as some sort of scam. You only have to speak to the man for 20 minutes to realize he has a vocation. He just doesn't know how to come out about it. He is ashamed of it, because he is ashamed of how vulnerable it makes him. Well, these dreams aren't other people's. It's not theirs to demolish. It's not theirs to do. It's not theirs to despoil. Dreams come in many, many different ways. And I want you, if you can, to pray for one of our people who is having a dream fulfilled next month. And for some of you, it may be a strange dream, but I can tell you, it is a life-changing, extraordinary dream, which she previously never imagined that she could actually fulfill. Next month, Vanessa will be having her gender reassignment therapy. Many, many years. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. You can be born in Bogota. You can be born anywhere, and you can become something extraordinary and rich and strange and have a voice that people listen to. Tens of thousands of people, all over the world and all over the country. I never believed when I was a teenager that anything I said would be of interest to other people. I was so convinced, and actually by a minority, that I was pretty worthless and that everybody hated me, that I have gone through most of my life believing that my teenage years were unrelentingly horrible and that everyone despised me at my high school. And I've told some of you this before, but last month I was looking through Facebook and I Googled myself. I Google myself occasionally, just that there's nothing really horrifying that comes up, you know? You never know with Google.
Okay. It's called Google.
Absolutely. What I saw was the Clinton Crawshaw Appreciation Society. What? This is some twisted joke. A few of the guys I knew from high school had set up on Facebook this page, the Clinton Crawshaw Appreciation Society,